Yo, Kpaceguy here, and welcome back to episode 2 of Bang for Your Buck, where I go out and find cheap equipment like speakers, TVs, cables, and any electronics to put in your house that won't break your bank. So today on this episode, I have something that I'm actually really excited to share with you guys, and you may have seen this from other reviewers or may have found it on your own. And this is the Jamo speaker series I'm going to show you guys here today. And the reason why I'm choosing these as one of my bang for your buck electronics is because these are actually really good. Jamo, if you don't know, a little bit of briefing, they're made by Klipsch. Klipsch has their hands on these people. They were an independent company and then Klipsch took them over. So you know if Klipsch is making these speakers, then they're going to be good. One thing I want to say as I start popping up pictures here in just a minute, these speakers look phenomenal. They have pretty decent specs for the price, and that price is pretty good. And so the first speaker I'm going to show you is the s805 floor standing speaker. It just has one driver and one tweeter, and it's just super simple. It looks so good though. It has such really good accents. It comes in white, black, and walnut, and I'm in love with the white and the walnut. And the black looks nice too, but I'm really in love with that walnut. The finish on here is phenomenal looking. These are probably one of the best speakers you can get for that little of a price. They look good. They have really good specs on them. They're $3.99 per pair. So you can get yourself a good sounding speaker for a small to medium sized room for just $3.99. What? Are you serious? So just the specifications on these speakers, they are rated down to 49 hertz, so they're not too low. You're going to want a subwoofer, which we'll get into that here in a little bit because they do have matching subwoofers. They have a rather low sensitivity rating of 88 dB, so you're going to want to power them with some sufficient power. But they are 8 ohms, so they can be put on to pretty much any amplifier you want to use. They'll be just fine. They do have magnetic grills, and I'm in love with magnetic grills now. It should be the standard for all speakers because you get rid of those pegs. You have to push in the grill to keep them in place. Those are so ugly when you take the grill off. But magnetic grills leave that face nice and clean, nice polished finish, nothing too bad. They're not too big. They're made for a small room, so your footprint's not going to be too big. It doesn't have any of the, they have the dimensions there at the bottom, but I'm not going to go and convert them to inches and feet and things like that. I'm not going to do anything like that. But you can see the specifications here on the screen. They're a pretty good speaker for a small room, and I'm considering grabbing a pair of them. So if you guys want me to grab a pair of these Jamo speakers, leave a comment down below and leave a like as well. But that's the 805s. I'm not going to get into too much. You guys can see the specs here. You see the pictures. I'm going to do a later review, somewhere down the line. But just I want to introduce you guys to these speakers. That's the 805, and let's go on to the 807s. Now for the s807s, you're introducing one extra driver there. So of course you're gonna have a slightly bigger cabinet, a little bit taller, a little bit wider, maybe even a little bit deeper. But you're gonna increase your frequency response now. So instead of with the 805s being 49 hertz at its lowest point, you're now down to 42, which is actually pretty reasonable for a floor standard of this size with 2 drivers in it. You're gonna get down to 42 hertz, so you still want a subwoofer, but you're gonna be pretty good for music listening. You have a little bit higher sensitivity of 90 dBs now, so again, you're still gonna want to put it with some good power, but not too much. It can still go with any amplifier you have. It will work just fine. I want to say that with the white, the walnut, and the black finishes, they're all the same price. I know that a lot of people or a lot of manufacturers, when they make speakers, they change the price depending on what finish you have. Not with Jamo. You can choose whatever finish you want, and you can pay the same price for it. These are $5.99 for the pair, so these are also pretty good. You get 2 floor standards right there, sounding pretty good. More for a medium-sized room. So if you have maybe a mid-size bedroom, like a master bedroom, or if you have a playroom for your children, or a decent sized living room, these speakers might be for you. They have really good specs on them, guys. I'm really impressed with what Jamo has done, or Klipsch, whoever. It's a partner project, so those guys down there have really made a nice speaker for the budget-friendly, the budget-minded people. And that's me, honestly. I know I have a lot of high-end equipment, but I didn't always have the money for it. And I still like to find good products for good money. So these are definitely ones to look at. So those are the 807s. And let's show you guys the 809s. So with the s809s, you're getting a lot more for just $100 more than the 07s. You're getting a much deeper frequency response of 37 hertz. So if you don't want to go out and buy a subwoofer, you don't necessarily have to, especially if you're just going to use it for music. You don't have to yet. 37 hertz is pretty good for a floor sitting speaker. Pretty good. So if you don't want to go get a subwoofer yet, you don't have to. If you're going to be using these for movies, you want to get a sub because they're going to roll off pretty quickly after 37 hertz. So you're going to want a subwoofer to add in that extra rumble to give you that best experience. But you're adding another driver here. So now instead of having one on the 05, two on the 07, on the 809's, you now have 3 of them. So of course, you're going to add some power. This is 120 watts, I believe, RMS, and 240 watts peak. So not a powerful speaker, but it can handle its own, I would say that for sure. So you're going to want to give it good power. It's still 90 dB sensitivity rating, so you're going to want to give it power. But they're going to sound good pretty much for all amps that you choose to have them. Again, you get all 3 finishes for the same price: walnut, black, and white. And you just, guys, if you look at these pictures, go online and look for yourself. I'm not sure how much justice you're gonna get from my pictures, but these speakers look phenomenal. And I don't know if you guys can see my decor in here, because this room is where these speakers would go if I got them. And that walnut finish is basically exactly what my theme is in this room. It's a gray, tan, like a brown kind of mix, and these speakers, that walnut, that's it right there. Now what's really cool with these speakers, all 3 speakers I believe are Atmos ready, and they have their own Atmos modules. They're called the S8s. I'll pop them up on the screen here. Not a lot of power in them. I think it's 100 watts I believe, but it just has every specification needed for Dolby Atmos. Now I will have to raise my hand and say this though, they're not wall mountable as far as I know. I didn't see any wall mounts, any brackets or anything like that, but I'm sure you can add some to them. I'm sure they're rather light. They have pegs on the bottom that fit on the top of whatever speaker you choose. Actually, I think it might be just the 809's and 807's that are able to do it. I think they have to be a certain width. I'll pop some pictures up here. But they have pegs on the bottom. They just sit right in your floor sitting speaker. So they're not going to move, they're not going to fall off or anything like that. They just kind of rest in there, and they're powered independently, of course. So that's really cool. I believe their bookshelves, which I'll pop up here in a couple minutes or so, their bookshelves are Atmos ready as well, so you can put a module on those. If you want to run a full bookshelf system, you can do that as well. So they have S8s there for their Atmos, so they're Atmos ready. They do come separately. You will have to buy them separately. Again, I don't think they can be wall mounted right out of the box, but I'm sure there's brackets either being made or you can use some to mount them, which is how I would do mine. I'm not a fan of the sitting them on my speakers and bouncing them, because there's too many specifications you have to follow to get the best sound. So I'm definitely one to either put them in ceiling or put them on the wall and have them firing down. But nonetheless, you have a really nice matching Atmos ready speaker. I think that's pretty cool. So we have 2 different bookshelves to choose from depending on what speaker set you want to get. You have the S801's and the S803's. So we're going to talk about the 803's being the bigger, larger, better sounding speaker. This one gets down to 57 hertz, so you're going to want a sub if you're going to use it for anything other than music. Even with music, you may want to put a sub with it. They have a really nice sub that I'll show you here in a minute that I think would work pretty well with these. But not a lot going for this speaker. Again, it looks really nice, has 1 driver, 1 tweeter, nothing serious. Just 80 watts. So you're not gonna have any trouble powering it, but you don't want to, put a lot into it either. 160 watts or 80 watts RMS, 160 watts peak. So you're not gonna get a lot of volume out of this. So they're gonna suffice really well for your rear speakers, your surrounds. They'll do really good in that application. Of course, you can get away with 2-channel listening with these. Wouldn't blast them too much, especially if you're not going to use a subwoofer with them. If you're going to use a subwoofer, then cross them over at like 70 or 80, and then you can probably get a little more volume out of them. But for what they are, they're really, really good. And I believe they're like $199 a pair or $299. It's on the screen. I forgot. It's on the screen right here. So that's the price for it. They're not expensive whatsoever. Everything's for the pair, which I like. A lot of speakers now are like $399 each or $599 each. You got to get 2 of them. You're spending $1,000 or so. But this speaker right here, for the pair. All the speakers are for the pair. And so I think this is a really good speaker for you guys. I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm going to get my hands on some of these here in a little bit. Alright guys, so at this current moment, at this current recording of this video, you can get the S809 package for $999. Which is all 5 speakers, a 5.0 system, so 2 floor standards, a center channel, and 2 bookshelves. You can get the 807s for $849, and then you can get the 805s for $649, or you can go a full bookshelf 5.0 system for $549. So that's really cool. You have a little package bundle, probably saves you more money that way than piecing things together, unless it's more beneficial for you to just start piecing things as money comes in. Either way you want to do it, but not too expensive to get a 5.0 system, which leads me to talk about that subwoofer. That darn subwoofer. You gotta have one. But this one's really weird. Really weird. So they have a matching subwoofer with this system here that isn't really a subwoofer in my eyes, and I'll explain that to you really quickly. It only gets down, okay, so let me stop. You have the 808 and the 810, okay? And so the 8 is the 8-inch and the 10 is the 10-inch, okay? And we're gonna talk about the 10-inch because it's the most powerful of the two. It goes down to only 36 hertz. Remember, your floor ceiling speakers go down to 42 if you get the 809's, okay? So you're not getting much difference in bass response, per se. It might be a little bit louder on the subwoofer than the floor ceiling speakers, but as far as how deep it goes, not much different. So it goes down to 36 hertz up to 180 hertz. It's a 75 watt subwoofer RMS, 150 watts peak. That is less power than your floor standards are. Okay, so what this is telling me is that this speaker is made more for the 2-channel listener, for the music listener, who doesn't need a lot of rumble, a lot of power. Just needs some clear, clean, tight bass to go with his music. That's what that subwoofer is telling me. It's rated to have 110 dBs. I'm not sure, that's its maximum output, but I don't know what frequency that is. It could be at 80 hertz, 60 hertz. I'm sure it's up there in the 50-ish, 60-ish range, depending on what it's tuned to be. But it's not gonna be very loud or very powerful. After 40 hertz, it's gonna roll off pretty quickly. You're gonna miss your bass. You're gonna wish you had something else. So this subwoofer is really made for the people who want to have a 2-channel system, who don't need a lot of bass. But it's also for the people who have a small room. And its form factor is super slim. So you can slide this under a TV stand, under a couch, under a bed if you're in a bedroom. You can hide it away super easily. It's not any bigger than a home theater in a box subwoofer, but it sounds a lot better than a home theater in a box subwoofer. So it's still something I recommend to you guys, still pretty good. I will personally never get one. I have an old PV1000 that I'm still holding on to, so I'm not gonna replace it. But those who don't have anything, who are not looking for much, definitely I recommend it from Kpaceguy for sure. But you guys can see the pictures on the screen of the subwoofer. It's not a big box. It comes in all the different finishes that your speakers come in, so you can match it appropriately to whatever speakers you choose. So it's not too bad. Now, let me scroll up here and find that price for you. So it's $299 each. You can get a different sub from them, from close to that, and that's going to lead me to my next point. For those who actually want to use a subwoofer for home theater uses, they have different subwoofers on their site. I'm not going to go through any of them now, but just know that there are some other options. They won't match your speakers 100% with the same finish, but there are some close options that give you a lot more power. You get a 12-inch in there, a lot more powerful amp, things like that. So if you're not satisfied with the S8 or S808 or the S810, mouthful, there are other options from Jamo, but if you have an old subwoofer, it'll work just fine. If you have another subwoofer you're looking at, you can use that too, but this is more for the budget-minded kind of guys there. So if you guys like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys are interested in these speakers. I think they're fantastic for the price, and I'm definitely going to get my hands on some soon. Leave me a comment down below which ones I should get. I'm leaning towards of course, the powerhouses, the s809's. Probably not the whole package at first, but I'll definitely get the floor standards and see how they sound and test them out in a small room, and maybe bring them to the big room and listen to them there. So leave me a comment down below and leave a like if I should get the 809's and review them for you guys. And leave a comment and what you guys think about, if it's a good price for you guys, if it's too much, is it too little? What do you guys think about that? And make sure you're subscribed for more. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Kpaceguy out.